Hi guys, and welcome back to my second episode on This Week in World of Warships. So this week I am going to be discussing 3 or 4 things. I will try and keep this video a little bit shorter than the previous one. I did have to put 2 games into it. But yeah, this week I'm going to be discussing 0.6.2 patch changes. These are the little changes that Wargaming is putting into to balance out ships and so on. I'm going to be looking at Russian DDs, which ones you should get in order to get compensated lots, if that makes sense. I'm looking at the Katori mission, which is for the NA server, which I am on because NA is better than EU. And I'd like to ask the question, what keeps you coming back to World of Warships? So yeah, let's take a look at the patch changes first of all. It's mainly for readjusting various upgrades to ships, and a little bits of buffs and a couple of nerfs for various ships as well. Okay, so the major changes for the American battleships, 3 of them are being changed. So New Mexico Hull A is being removed. The New Mexico Hull B is going to be the new Hull A, and the rudder shift is going to change from 18 down to 14 on the new Hull A, which is the old Hull B. And the new Hull and the Hull C is going to be moved down to Hull B. I hope that makes sense. Same for the Colorado. So Hull A removed, Hull B renamed Hull A. Rudder shift changed from 20 up to 27. So that's getting a major nerf. That's going to be quite horrible. I don't know why they're nerfing that. Stock Colorado is already pretty horrible anyway. But then again, Hull C has been renamed to Hull B, so I guess that's not too bad overall. The American battleship Alabama, the Super Tester version, is going to get a whole load more consumables, so you're going to get an extra spotting aircraft or an extra fighter, say from 4 up to 5 and from 3 up to 4, which is pretty good. The American Cruiser Indianapolis is going to get a slightly better reload time on the guns upgrade. So it's going to be changed from 15 seconds up to 14.3 seconds. So that should give it a little bit of buff. It does kind of need it. Indianapolis is not a great ship, to be honest. American Destroyer Black, there's been a big lot of controversy over this boat. With the use of smoke and radar. They are trying to nerf it down quite a lot, but the fact is it's still got radar and smoke at the same time. That's the problem. But yes, so they've nerfed it from distance from 350 down to 250. Not sure what that is in kilometers, but it was at 9 kilometers. I think it's going down to, well, you can work it out from there really, 9 kilometers down to like 6.5 or something like that, I don't know. And the duration is going from 35 seconds down to 20, still 20 seconds, where someone can completely be killed. So, not really a fan of that. One thing I do think they should do is change the radar should be on the smoke option. So, are you going to choose radar or are you going to choose smoke? Now, again, the obvious choice would be radar, seeing as you can spot people without being spotted yourself, but still it makes it a better option. It should not be both, in my opinion, but either way, that's how it is. Japanese battleship Fuso, they're removing Hull A, renaming B to A and C to B, and on the new stock they're changing it from the rudder shift time from 19 seconds to 22 seconds, and the Anshan is going to have a nice buff to its HE from 1600 to 1900. So yeah, some basic changes there, mainly removing hulls, which is kind of, well, if that's what they want to do. I mean, I don't see a massive need to do that. I mean, unless anyone could tell me why that's so important. But yeah, so it's at least there's some things going on there, a few buffs here and there. Shame that they didn't really change anything to do with the black. Never mind that. Anyway, let's move on to more news. Russian DDs. Okay, so the Soviet destroyers, the brand new ones. So we've got a whole load of moves coming about. We've got a couple of new ones coming in. and I want to tell you which ones that you should buy. So the line splits at T8 with the Ognavoy from T6 up to T8. So if you have an Ognavoy, I'd recommend buying an Ognavoy, because then your T6 ship will be magically become a T8 ship. That means you'll be able to sell it for millions and millions and millions and millions of credits. Udaloy is switching him to the other side, but it will be moved, so you'll also get compensated for that. So you'll be getting the equivalent in captain. I think someone said that the captains get duplicated. That means you get more captain space, so you can recruit more captains and put them into have a larger reserve for captains, which is very useful. And I don't know whether you get compensated in port slots or whether the boat itself will be duplicated. But my advice is you should buy every single boat except for the T10 from T5, T6, T7, T8 and T9. And if you can afford those 5 boats, you should be able to make a big profit. I don't know how much profit you'll make or how much extra stuff you'll get, but I am going to be working towards getting all of those so I can really start. Because I missed out on the Japanese destroyers when they switched lines, and people reported they got lots and lots of freebies and extras and stuff. So I'm going to be buying those. I recommend you buy them too. The new Japanese Russian destroyers do look pretty interesting. The Grozovoy, the AA has been nerfed somewhat. It's still got 54 stock AA. That shouldn't get up to above 100. I can't remember what it was before, but it was a bit crazy. So glad that's been nerfed a bit. It had, like, you know, USN Cruiser level AA, which is just ridiculous, to be honest. Yeah, so looking forward to those. Those are coming out next week for Russian server. It is on Tuesday. For NA it is on Wednesday, and for the last 2 servers, which is C and EU, is coming out on Thursday. Looking forward to those. I do have the Kavarosk, which isn't the one that's going to be compensated for, but I'm going to rebuy the Udaloy so I can get to the Grozovoy really quickly. And the Udaloy is such a fun boat anyway. I did also hear on the grapevine somewhere, I think it might have been actually in Notza's video, on Untitled video, that they are rebuffing from the nerfs the firepower of the Russian destroyers. I think that includes the Kiev and the Tashkent, and possibly, I know it includes the Kiev, could be the Tashkent, and it could be the Udaloy, and I don't know whether it's the Khabarovsk. But they are rebuffing the firepower to that. I would like to find some statistics on that, or where that evidence came from. That would be very interesting. Anyway, let's move on to our third topic of the day, which is the Katori mission for NA server. This is Beware the Ides of March. This is a mission that you'll be able to do that starts on the 1st of March, so you should already be doing it if you're on NA, and ends on the 1st of April, which I assume we'll be getting our April Fool's mission thing, which should be quite exciting. Anyway, so you get a whole load of things. There are 5 things. Yeah, 5 tasks you have to do. So the Ides of March 1, earn 1000 base XP, and you get to get lots of damage control party premium consumables, which is nice. You get a whole load more things moving up. Nothing particularly interesting, just a whole load of camouflage. Then you do get on the Tides of March 5, you get 15 Restless Fire camouflages, which give you a whole load of extra things, such as, no, where is it? Standard camouflage, special camouflage, where is it? Hasn't been updated yet. I think it gives you an extra 250% XP, or Captain Commander XP. And then finally, after you completed the 5 missions, you do get the Katori, which is a T3 Japanese cruiser, plus a 5 skill point commander and a reserve slot, which is pretty good. Now, Little White Mouse has done a review. I highly recommend you go read it, because her reviews are by far the most insanely detailed things you'll ever read in your life, which is super awesome. I like that sort of thing, so I actually just enjoy reading the reviews, to be honest. Yep, so a little bit of information on it. It was first written into the patch in 0.5.41.1. Basically, it was written into the patch in November 24th, 2016, so yeah. She does give a quick summary. I'll read this out to you. This is the original Tier 1 Japanese cruiser with historical armaments restored, bumping her up to T3. Slow, fragile, undergunned, but armed with torpedoes, a float plane fighter, and given access to aiming systems modification 0 module to compensate. So that gives you a little idea what it's going to be. The pros of this ship is that you have very good HP pool, 22,000. You have access to aiming modification systems, which greatly improves the weapon performance and handling, which is very useful. Great range. I think it's the highest range on any T3 cruiser at 13.5 kilometers, which is pretty good in my books. Guns are accurate and reasonably hard hitting, as usual with the Japanese cruisers. They're always nice and hard hitting. Float plane fighter, which is very good for spotting torpedoes, DDs, and everything around you. Decent AA for a T3 cruiser, not that it's that useful, but if you do go into a T4 match, you'll be able to shoot down some planes, which is fantastic. Great agility, small turning circle, which is always very useful for avoiding torpedoes. The negatives of the ship is she has crap armor, and you're going to be Citadel quite easily. Otherwise, she has less than 10% millimeters, less than 10 millimeter of steel plate anywhere, so very, very easy to attack. Horribly undergunned, only has two turrets with two double turrets with 140 millimeter shells, meaning that you aren't really going to be that effective. Slow turret traverse, which is rather frustrating if you're trying to maneuver around. Torpedo armament is very reliant on the enemy making mistakes, so this means that it is not an offensive weapon, it's a defensive weapon. And the worst thing about it, in my book, I think, would be the Katori is painfully slow at 18 knots, which is not much at all. That's like battleship slow. It does have a few options and upgrades, so you do have a catapult fighter, which is good. You have premium camouflage, which is the Tier 2 to 5 standard, which gives you 30% bonus in experience and a 3% reduction in surface detection and 4% reduction in enemy accuracy. The main firepower on this ship, you have 4 140mm guns in 2x2 turrets, which is quite useful. You have secondary batteries, not amazing ones, but I guess they would be decent for AA. You have 1x2 mount, which fires 127mm shells. You do have 2x2 torpedoes, one on each side, which is relatively useful for defensive use, practically only. Moving on from that, you do have okay maneuverability. Turning radius is 430 meters, pretty good. Rudder shift is 6.5, which is okay, nothing terrible. Top speed of 18 knots, as I said earlier, which is not very good. Moving on from that, your concealment and camouflage, you have a surface detection range of 11 kilometers, air detection range from 5 kilometers. The minimum surface detection range you can get it down to is 9.6, which is, it's okay. And then when firing your guns, you add 4.2 kilometers to that. So you don't really get an opportunity to do any invisi firing. Yeah, so pretty good boat. Little White Mouse does say the skill floor is casual and the skill ceiling is moderate, so you can't really do that much for it. And her recommendations, she said that competitive gaming, no, absolutely not. For collectors, yeah, it's interesting, it's a unique ship, which is good. And for the fun factor, it's in co-op, she said it's really good fun. The bots are dumb, so you should be able to do a lot of good fun in that. So maybe this is just like a collector ship, really. I wouldn't recommend keeping it. I might be selling this ship because you do get an extra port slot. I do need some of those. Get a bit of cash. I know it's a premium, but I'll play a few games in it and see what I can do with it. So interesting boat. And now let's get on to our last subject. What keeps you coming back to World of Warships? Now, I'm not a gamer at all. I don't play many games at all in my entire life, really. I mean, I used to play a lot of RuneScape. Yes, I admit it, I liked RuneScape. Good fun. just a whole lot of grinding and just playing around. I really enjoyed it. And other than that, I didn't really play any games, and I stumbled across World of Warships. I didn't know it was actually by the guys who did World of Tanks. I did play World of Tanks once before, and I did not enjoy it at all. I thought it was a bit crap, to be honest. Yeah, so I've been playing World of Warships now since 2015, so about a year and a half now, and I've been totally addicted to it. You know, such good fun. Yeah, since the open beta, I've been playing it. And what keeps me coming back? Honestly, for me personally, it's the gameplay. I like how slow it is. I like how you have to think about your strategy, but it's not a strategy game where you're dictated by individual moves. It's a strategy game where you're dictated by a consistent, real-time strategy moving forwards. It's not in the standard real-time strategy like Command and Conquer or whatever, but like you have the skill where you have to shoot properly. There's the skill. But your skill is useless if you don't play your strategy right. So working out where you're going to go with your battleships, where do you have to point your guns, which enemies are you going to have to attack, are you going to have to make plays at the right time, working out whether a mistake was made, and all this stuff has to be done, especially in battleships, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes in advance, and it takes time to learn how to do that. And that's honestly what keeps it coming back to me. I don't know whether any of you guys know the game Snooker, which is a bit like pool, but proper. I absolutely love watching snooker because of the strategy and the skill in it. It kind of really reminds me of it. I like watching snooker for the safety battles where they are trying to make it really difficult for the other player to pot the balls in the holes. And I absolutely love that, where you're going to place the balls and what ball you're going to place next. And that's what I like. I like the strategy you have in this game. Now, I've been looking around what people think, what people have been thinking on the forums, on Reddit, on Facebook, and a lot of people like their boats, certain boats, for example, Yamato or Shimakaze. I tend to find a lot of people do like watching their Japanese cartoon thingies about boats, and that gets a lot of people interested, which is great because even though I think it's a bit silly, to be honest, I stopped watching cartoons ages ago. But yeah, I still think it's a good thing because it does get people who wouldn't otherwise be interested in Second World War boats interested in it. And yeah, I think it's a good thing. My favourite boat that keeps me coming back and playing again is Khabarovsk, definitely. I'm fighting my way up the Royal Navy cruisers, as you probably know. I played the Minotaur a lot in PTS, and I've been playing a lot of Fiji. I absolutely love the Fiji. I think it's probably the best boat at that tier, in my opinion, other than the Belfast, but best non-premium, let's put it that way. Another thing that keeps me coming back is the history. I am partially interested in Second World War history. Not a major Buffy fan of it. I'm indifferent really. I enjoy watching the odd documentary about it, but I'm not that clued up in it. But it's quite interesting knowing all the boats, what happens in various battles. I like iChaser's videos on Know Your Ship and Jingle's history overviews of certain ships. I really enjoy that. It really makes me very interested in it. And yeah, it's really good, interesting. And some other people said they enjoyed the mechanics. Now, I didn't realise I enjoyed this about it, but yes, I absolutely enjoyed the mechanics in this game. This game is very, very finely balanced. You can change a ship's, let's say, turning rudder shift by a couple of seconds, and it will suddenly make the ship super playable or super unplayable. It's amazing how the World of Warships has been designed to be so fine-tuned, and I like that because it means minor changes. For example, if you're buffing just a little bit of visibility versus less visibility, can make a chip playable or not. A good example is the Pensacola, which had terrible visibility, but they improved it just a little bit, just the distance that you've seen. Not a major change. And all of a sudden, it becomes actually, I can play this boat now, and that's what I like about World of Warships. If there's anything else that you find that you enjoy with World of Warship that keeps you coming back and playing again and again, do tell me. I would love to know what keeps you coming back, and I think this wraps it up for this week in World of Warships. I hope you enjoyed it. If there's anything else you want to tell me about that you think is quite important, tell me what I can put in next week's episode, and Tell me what you think, subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.